Sweet. Wait, what was that mug?
It's Naruto.
Nice, dude.
Yeah,
Nice. Nice big mug there. I've got I'm winning like a lot of like swag lately. Like I just won App Rights in it swag. Like
yeah. I just saw that.
yeah, which I'm like pretty hype about. I also won this Clerk and Astro mug it's a couple weeks ago from Clerk had a giveaway because they just implemented an SDK for Astro sites, which is
Yeah,
pretty
yeah,
awesome. So I'm pretty hype about that. But all right, so you just got done with work. You feeling all right?
yeah, yeah. I'm good.
Yeah. Cool, 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 cool. Now, do you normally go home and straight to bed, or?
Typically, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I probably stay up an hour or so, like now, and then go
so,
to
so we're
sleep.
pushing
But
it. We're pushing it.
yeah, no, it's not good.
Yeah. I appreciate you hanging out. So, just for the stream, the recording, anyone that's jumping in, we're here with Eddie or Eduardo. Would you prefer Eddie?
Yeah, Eddie's fine.
Okay, cool. I don't know. My friend actually, my friend is named Didier, but he goes by Didier or Alan by his family, and I'm like, wait, the Alan part makes no sense. Like us white folk being unable to say Didier, like that checks out. But Alan, I just don't get it. And he's still, I've known him for like eight, 18 years, 16 years. Still doesn't make sense to me. But Eduardo to Eddie, much simpler.
Yeah,
Anyway, we're joined today by Eddie. He is part of the Gridiron team. He's a software engineer, primarily working on the back end of stuff, right?
yeah,
Yeah. And so when I joined the team, believe you're already a part of it. And then because of work stuff, you sort of took a little bit of time away and now you're back.
right. Yeah, I
Yeah.
originally started with Sashi and all them, but when we were actually using Supabase for the back end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, and then I had to take a little break because life. I had to work double jobs for a couple months there.
Yeah, man. Well, dude, life will do that to you. It
Oh, yeah.
sucks sometimes, but it is right. It is what it is. Just want to point out real quick today, I haven't been doing it in past ones, and I'm like, I probably should be pointing it out. So, Gridiron is sponsored. We have a few great sponsors, but we're sponsored by AppRight, who I just mentioned I won the swag from. Thank you, AppRight. Front End Mentor, Get Kraken, Pastel, and Blog Recorder. You can hear more about them in our team live streams, and of course, if you have any questions, I can go into them. But thank you to all those for making Gridiron possible because it's awesome.
Yeah, it really
Yeah,
is.
dude, I can't believe like I don't know when Shashi first mentioned that we had sponsors. I was like, what?
I'm
what do
still
you
waiting for
mean?
all that swag to come in.
Waiting for it. I'm gonna get my knit swag before the team gets the swag.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah. It's been pretty cool though. Like I've been messing with Blog Recorder. I need to actually publish posts from it, but it's a cool tool that I like a lot. Um and I want and it's like, Richard, you work there.
Yeah, for
Go
real.
get some. um yeah, Blog Recorder has been fun. It's been getting a lot of traction. I know the founder behind it, Eddie. I met him, another Eddie,
Yeah,
Eddie Vink. Met him at that conference in January, so that was fun. Yeah, Eddie with the nerd. Wally spotted it right away. Wally spotted the Naruto mug right away.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Everyone.
So let's jump in a little bit. So Eddie Vazquez, what is your background and what got you started in tech?
Yeah, absolutely. So, my background is it's not the typical background. Right after high school, I joined the military. I went into the Marine Corps, did that for 4 years, and got out. Um, Not really sure what to do with my life, so I did a bunch of different jobs after I got out. Um, but growing up, I did really like tech, and I thought I was gonna go to school, do some sort of computer stuff, but that didn't happen. I joined the military. So going back to jumping between the various jobs, back 2 years ago, I met a friend through my wife who was also a Marine, who works at Microsoft as a DevOps engineer. He actually kind of sparked my interest in it again. So I was like, let me take a stab at this. So I tried online school. That didn't work out, but I wrote my first lines of code with Python, and I was like, "Ooh, I like this." So definitely stuck with it, and
Nice.
eventually ended up going through this program called Year Up, which is a year-long program split into two different parts. First 6 months is a kind of learning and development phase, so classroom type settings, just learning
Hmm.
the basics of technology. And then the last portion is internship. So I got to intern at JP Morgan for 6 months. So
Really?
that was a pretty cool experience. And then after that, I did another boot camp sponsored through um, Accenture, just to
Hmm.
kind of brush up my full stack technology. And then from there, here I am with Gridiron and just doing a bunch of other um, open source stuff that comes around.
Nice, man. Yeah, I saw you doing some stuff on Tech Commute as well,
Hmm.
an open source website, which is again a teammate of ours, Jason Torres's. So that's cool. I know I threw some issues in the ring.
Yeah.
He announced that it was fully open source, and I was like, oh, let me go take a look. And I saw some things, and I was like, ah, you know what? When I can contribute, I happily will. But it sounds like you've been looking for tech for a while. Have you always been a techie?
I would say techie in terms of technology, like hardware.
Yeah,
Um,
more hardware.
I was always the guy like the latest phone came out. I'm like, oh, I want that, or the
Hmm.
newest computers come out and all that stuff. That was kind of more so my interest in tech, but now it's pivoted over to software, you know, coding and all of that. I still like the hardware portion of it though. Um,
Did you build your own PCs or anything?
Surprisingly, not yet, but I want to.
Really? Coming
Yeah,
from a hardware guy, that's surprising.
yeah,
Um, it's fun. I think like I've done a handful of them now. I'm like, okay, someone else can do this for me. Like I'll
right.
pick up the parts. Someone else can do this. Were you a video gamer growing up?
I was to an extent, not not a hardcore gamer, but I did game quite a bit with my brother growing up.
Okay. I ask just, I'm always like, there's certain trends you see, obviously in groups of people. And something that I always found was pretty common actually from a lot of people I met. Was education being a background,
Hmm.
interestingly enough, but overall just being a techie as well, and that kind of like makes sense. The tech part of it, education maybe not so much, but here we are.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I was in a huge video. I still am a huge video gamer. I just don't have the time like I used to. Obviously, being
yeah,
almost 33 years old, right? Life gets in the way,
yeah.
and a
That
career
totally
transition and everything.
feel you there.
Yep. So you're married. You did all this internship, this boot camp, and things like that. Does your partner, spouse, are they into tech at all?
Surprisingly, not as much as me, but my wife has gotten an interest in data analytics, so she's been dipping her toes in that.
Nice. I mean, that's
Yeah.
great. It's a good field to be. I mean, I think any part of tech is a good field to be in, but data analytics, especially with AI, machine learning, and all that jazz,
Right.
pretty popular right now. So they obviously sounded like they were very supportive through all this,
Oh yeah, definitely.
which is
She has been super supportive over the past almost 2 years now, and it could be frustrating at times, but she's been there, still supporting me, so I'm
yeah,
super grateful for that.
it's a lot, and it means a lot. I know.
Yeah,
The transition's not easy, man. It really isn't.
no, it's not.
I don't think anyone, especially nowadays, can say that it's easy. So, what made you go into the Marine Corps after right out of high school? Was it just like I don't know what I'm doing, and so this is an option, or were you always interested in it?
So oddly enough, I wanted to go into law enforcement. So originally, I was gonna I was like, oh, I'm gonna go be a police officer. But um, I have an uncle who's also a Marine veteran. He just
Mm-hmm.
retired a few years ago. Um, so I kind of we had his picture kind of mounted up on our wall here in our house, and my dad kind of looked up to him a lot, like super proud of him, and I was like, I can do that too. So um,
Nice.
I walked into the recruiting office thinking of joining the army, but
Mm-hmm.
they weren't there, and the Marine recruiter popped out. And he was like, "Hey, yo, come talk to me," and he got me.
that's that's funny, and
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, I would imagine it worked out well for you. You did what did you if you can or if you want to talk about what you did in the Marine Corps?
yeah. So I was a infantry rifleman. So you think of it as getting paid to shoot at a firing range and blow stuff up.
I
Um,
mean, doesn't sound too bad
that's
on the
basically
outside.
a simple rundown of what I did. That's basically it. Did a bunch of shooting at the range, bunch of tactical training, and basically preparing to be shipped out if worst come ever came up.
Mm-hmm.
But thankfully, nothing ever popped off, so didn't have to use my training at all. But
That's okay. That I
that's
mean, I think
basically
we'd
what I
rather it
did.
that way.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself going to the shooting range now since you're out of it, or were guns never really like a thing?
So, oddly enough, I don't go as much as I want to, but I really do enjoy shooting.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
fun, but
Hey, man, you know what?
it's
I've heard that
expensive.
for. I have a couple of friends that go, and I've just never been. It's not like a thing, but I just I'm like, take me with you one day. It's just honestly like not that they're the same, but it's almost like friends that talk about golfing. They're like, yeah, just go to the driving range. I'm like, well, take me and show me how. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I'll experience it and figure it out for myself if I enjoyed it or not. Yeah, so that's a big swing of things going from that to tech and software engineering. But glad to
Hmm.
have you on the team, dude. You seem like a solid person, and we haven't really been able to communicate great a lot, which is why this is I like the series because I get to learn more
Yeah.
about you all, and so does everyone else, right?
Yeah, it's definitely been fun hearing about everyone's background. So thanks for
Yeah,
putting this together.
dude. Of course, I'm happy to. So, all right, what do you do for fun? What do you do outside of work besides sleep, which is crucial?
um, so typically, if I'm not on my computer, my wife's very event oriented, so she always has things for us to do. So, um, yeah, so when we're not doing that, I just like to sit on the couch and binge watch Netflix shows if I'm being completely honest.
That's hey man, nothing wrong with that. I totally feel you.
Yeah.
My ex-wife was very event oriented as well, and so anytime we weren't doing that, I was like, okay, we I need to sit at home and play video games, or we'll catch up on TV. She also was a TV,
Hmm.
like a big TV fan, but yeah, I take every time I could. I'm like, okay, let me get it some time of video games in, and because like I was also video games were like my social outlet, and they still are
Right.
for a lot of things. Obviously, like this is great, and the tech community has been another way of doing it, but for years, that's what I had, and I have real life friends, but it's much easier to like log on with a group of people at
Yeah.
night than plan months in advance. Like literally, we have to plan our with our friends months in advance because whose work schedule is unpredictable, who's got kids now, and it's just impossible to get them for a night.
Yeah. I definitely feel you on that one.
And I know, I was gonna say, I know I'm not alone. It's not a unique story, but that's where like the online community is nice, right?
Right.
Yeah. Where are you located, if you don't mind me asking?
I am on the West Coast,
You're on the
Washington
West
State.
Coast.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you're up there. Very cool. Very cool. Were you born and raised there?
I was born in California, but I was raised out here in Washington.
Nice, dude. Nice West Coast boy for life. I'm on the East Coast my entire life. I'm in New York on Long Island. Like, just I want to leave. It's just a matter of time and money.
Yeah.
So
Surprisingly, I've never been to the East Coast, so
I've never been to the West Coast. Maybe we'll swap one day.
yeah, we should.
Yeah, dude. I've been dying to get out there. Like, I just part of my reason for wanting to get out of here is that like, the cost of living, and that's not going to change like on the West Coast, especially California. But it's just like seeing what more the world has to offer. Like, I mean, dude, there's more than where you grow up, in my opinion. And I know
Yeah,
some people don't care about that, but for me, it's a big thing of like,
right.
I want to get out. I want to see what else is out there. Because anytime I visit another state, there's pros and cons, right? You see things that you like, you see things that you don't like. But I really like the idea of hopefully in the future having a remote job and I could explore different places of the world even to live and be like, hey, I'll go live here for 3 to 6 months at a time and see what it's like. And do I enjoy it? Do I want to hang out here longer or not? You know,
Right. Yeah, yeah. That's a
Mu-
dream.
much easier to do now that I'm single, but you know, it's still doable if both parties are so inclined. You know,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
So let's dive into Gridiron Survivor since that's how we met.
Right.
In your own words, was Gridiron Survivor the application or the web app?
Yeah, so Gridiron Survivor is essentially a Survivor Series type event, or not event, but uh, it's essentially a roster type of thing of app. You just basically every week you pick a team that you think's gonna win that week, and you just do that every week until you get knocked off. You just try to survive. Essentially, that's what that is. Um, in terms of our app,
And what's the current stack that it's being built with?
current stack it's being built with is Next.js. We're using AppWrite for the back end. We're using Playwright and Jest for testing, along with React testing library as well. And then we also got Storybook integrated there for all the documentation and all the components that you can find within the app. And am I missing anything else? I think that's majority of it.
Yeah, majority of it.
Yeah,
You know, I love this question. Jason says he jumped in right in time.
yeah,
How
you
do you
got
feel?
me.
How do you feel you did?
I mean, not too bad, I guess.
You know, it's a tough question,
It is.
it's a tough question, and it's one that we all need to get better at answering because it comes up in interviews. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's we're you also using Tailwind CSS. We're using Zustand, I believe, as well. You know, there's a couple of smaller things, but Tailwind's pretty large, and Shad CN,
yeah,
of course, for the UI library. But you don't touch the UI components too much. You're more focused on the
I know.
back end of things. So typically, what kind of contributions are you making to Gridiron? Like, what would a ticket look like for you?
So when I first got onboarded, I was, excuse me, gonna work on the back end and sorry, back end and DevOps portion of the app. Um, so I kind of helped set up the back end, like I mentioned before, with Superbase, and we had Docker set up. But then all of that got scrapped when we switched over to AppWrite. So there really isn't any backend tickets that I'm working on at the moment. So I'm actually helping out the functional engineering side of things right now. Um, so the last ticket I worked on was implementing a redirect for when folks are logged in and they navigate to, say, the login or register. If they're already logged in, it kicks them back to the leaks page.
Hmm.
And currently, I am working on another functional engineering ticket to getting the leaks for all the users to pop up on the nav side menu that we have
Right,
for the
right.
user.
So, how do you feel working on the functional side of things? Do you like it? Do you dislike it?
I like it, but it's not my strongest suit, if I'm being
Hmm.
completely honest.
That's okay.
But yeah, no, I like it. I like the whole thought of working on both ends of
Yeah,
of an app.
I think it's interesting. because your forte, you're saying like is the pure back end side of things. My forte
Mm,
is very much the front end side of things, going from design to code. And this functional engineering is literally in the middle where they meet.
right.
And it's something that I know I want to and need to get better at. And so, what do you feel like you're struggling with on it, or what do you not like about it?
Um, I wouldn't say that there's anything I don't like, but what I struggle with currently is trying to pick up Next.js and just trying to figure out um, how to fetch data from all the different um, folder, the
Mm-hmm.
structure that Next.js is. So just trying to wrap my head around trying to figure out where to pull data from and what the difference between utils folder is and the interface files and all that
Yeah,
stuff. So I'm just wrapping my head around that. Just been
there's a
taking me
lot
a minute.
there.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot, and I'm with you right there. I just had to do for one of mine where I re basically I did the UI UX work, and somewhere along the line, I guess when someone merged stuff in, it got lost. Maybe there was a merge conflict, and they just
Hmm.
basically like didn't merge in what I did. And so at first, when I did that work, it wasn't making things interactive. It wasn't pulling that data over. But this time around, when I redid it, I said, okay, like, first of all, I want to do it as a challenge. But second of all, it doesn't need to be another ticket. Like, why am I going to redo the same work and then have someone else redo the same work? I'll just take care of it all.
Hmm.
And first of all, I wrote the ticket. So, like, okay, you could blame me for leaving that bit out, maybe. But yeah, like there's the different interfaces. There's the utils folder with the different functions, and how do you get that information to the page. And it's kind of wild to me because we'll have like get current user, get current users league, get the current week and things like that. And it's all these, and maybe, and I don't know. I think it's just part of, for me, is a lack of exposure to it. It just but it works. Like
Right.
it's just me, right? Like it's a skill issue in this case.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with you there. But yeah, no, I definitely enjoy doing both aspects, and I like how in the front end you see everything as you're working on it. You know,
Which is
if it
part of
works,
why I
it
like it.
shows
Is
up.
that
If it doesn't, it screams at you like it doesn't
exactly?
work.
Kenneth says, I'm just the opposite. I love connecting things together and struggle with the design part of things. It's all fun though. I do love the idea of connecting things together,
Hmm.
and that's why I want to be better at it.
Right.
But it's and I think it's the same thing where, like, once we get comfortable with working in it here, will be easier. It'll be easier to expand that to other projects. But
Right.
right now, it's just that connection that's difficult. What drew you to the back end? I'm curious because you say you like the
Um.
front end side of things where you get to see what you're doing, right?
Right. So I think I guess my attraction to the backend just comes from, like I mentioned, the first coding language I used was Python and Java, which are basically used a lot in the backend. And then during my internship, I was software engineer in the cybersecurity team, so it was all backend type stuff. So I was using Python
Mm-hmm.
um, and cloud services too. That's why I dig the DevOps side of things too. Um, so just working with Python and Terraform and AWS, I just liked it, and I was like, I dig the back end. So that's kind of what kind of just attracted me more to the back end going forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, definitely working with Python leads you there. Java, like you said, leads you there. And the cloud services. It's funny you mentioned the cloud services. I first, one of the detours I made in the beginning of finally, once again, settling on front end web development was working towards becoming an AWS cloud architect.
Hmm.
And I liked it. Like, I definitely enjoyed it. It's something I might want look to explore in the future. But since then, and I have not touched anything AWS because I haven't needed to.
Yeah,
Like, again, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, I definitely know that things in the future I'll need to, but for now, purely in a front end role and even the functional front end stuff, I typically don't need to, and at least in
Right.
my experience.
Right.
Gee, I, everyone's calling me out on my phrasing. I can't stop it when you're talking about front ends and back ends, guys. All right, relax over there, Wally and Richard.
They're getting in the chat.
I know. Yeah, well, this is what my chat has come to be. That's okay. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. All right, so we kind of discussed this a little bit, but you worked with Python and Java prior to GIS. You're learning next as part of Gridiron. Uh, is there anything else that you're having to learn for Gridiron, or what other skills are coming out of you being a part of Gridiron?
Um, so next year, TypeScript. That's another one. And the favorite of all, testing. I
Hmm.
think this is the first time I've actually written tests since I've started. But yeah, those are the biggest two, really, TypeScript and testing.
Yeah. Now, TypeScript. Did you have JavaScript experience beforehand?
Yes, JavaScript I do have some experience with it, but like I said, it's not the strongest. So trying to
Hmm.
pivot over, it's a work in progress for sure.
Um, Speaking of like TypeScript, you worked with Java. Is Java a type safe
Yeah,
programming language?
yeah.
It is. So, do you find TypeScript then difficult, or is it just the different syntax that you have to get used to?
I think it's just getting used to all the type safety and having to declare everything. I guess the syntax is what I'm still trying to wrap my head around and all that good stuff. But as far as like the typing or the
Mm.
type safety of it, it's similar to what I've used before.
Yeah. Well, the primitive data types are the same for the most part, right?
Hmm.
I know there's a couple of different differences with I think numbers. I studied very basic Java stuff, so forgive me, but I feel like there was a difference there, but I could be wrong. I don't remember. It was like for half a day. And I said, never mind. I'm going to stick back to. Well, I shouldn't say I said never mind. I was encouraged by Shashi, basically, like, hey, if I'm going to hire someone, I'm hiring them for what, like, a specific thing,
Hmm.
and like, I want to, my problem is I want to learn it all. And there's not enough time to do it
Same.
all, especially
You know,
working, right? Like, working full time, you're balancing a partnership and, you're like, you're married. You have less time than me.
yeah, no, I think Java is actually a popular language where I'm at because Microsoft is here,
Hmm.
Amazon is headquartered here. Sorry. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of Java and Python. It's pretty popular over here. I'd say.
Yeah, it is, and I
I,
think that's part of like why if you've ever spoken to Danny Thompson, he kind of like definitely pushes Java a bit,
yeah.
and not that there's anything wrong with that, please, but part of it is really knowing your job market, and so I had a call with him, and we talked about the job market, and like when we were discussing it, things clicked in a different way. So
Hmm.
for me, I was always just looking at the job market for what I'm interested in my immediate area, right? But he meant it as like, hey, as a whole, what's more popular in your area, right?
Right.
So, like you're saying, Java, Python is very popular by you. Java is definitely, I think, bigger in Dallas than it was Houston and Austin. But it was still, I think, within the top three. I did like a quick one. So this was like a very, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Like one point in time study, but I just took like 5 or 6 different cities, looked up these languages, and looked at the job demand for entry level roles. Now, of course, you could be like, oh, well, how does LinkedIn filter general, junior level? It's dependent upon the job lister to do and things like that. But all in all, Java was still up there. Python was up there. JavaScript was up there. So you
Hmm.
look at those 3 languages, and you're like, okay, figure it out now. Like those are the things you should learn, and then you branch out from there based off of what you're looking to do, right?
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I can't blame you for looking at still working on in Python and Java and things like that. That's fun. Good morning, May. Welcome to the chat. I know it's early over there for you. 7 o'clock about.
which is the
If I,
same time as me.
yeah, that's right. That's right. It's the end of your day though.
Yeah, it is.
How have you found working with a team in Gridiron? But you went to a boot camp. Did you have a similar experience there and the internships, right?
Right. So I think at the internship, it was the first time I actually got to experience working in a Scrum type of environment. Um, but it's been an experience. Definitely, communication is something I am working on. If I'm being completely honest,
Aren't we all?
and just making sure I can actually commit to the things that what's the word I'm looking for? If a ticket says doing it at this time, actually commit to doing it at that time, so other
Hmm.
folks aren't being blocked or I'm slowing down, the progress of things. So it's definitely been an experience, good experience though.
Yeah, communication is key. Like I said, we're all working on it. I
Yeah.
think it's come a long way for most people since I joined, especially the first to like second sprint. It's got a big increase, and I think it's something that you can get better at, but it will take reminding either from you or others throughout, right?
Yeah,
Because once
definitely.
you get comfortable again, your communication might go down.
Right.
But I think having the Discord helps. I'm sure you used Slack or whatever at
Mhm.
JP Morgan and such, right?
Yeah, they actually have their internal tooling. They're all internal stuff.
Even for instant messaging.
Yep, they have their
Really?
own. They have their own tool. I forgot what it's called, but
I
yeah, they
wonder
have their own
why.
internal. I think security issues or
Well,
something like
so
that.
I would think that, but I work for a government subcontractor, and like, there's government compliant versions of like WebEx or Zoom,
Right.
or Teams even. So that just maybe they just felt that it was easier, or maybe it already existed. Was it an older application? Do you know?
It wasn't old, if I remember. It was pretty modern.
Yeah.
It's basically like I think it was called Symphony, if I
Hmm.
remember correctly. Um,
I'm just always curious to see what other places are
yeah,
doing. You know?
yeah. I know. I just know it was like JP Morgan had their own internal tooling. They didn't use
Yeah.
anything that wasn't JP approved.
Yeah. I mean, that's good for developers too, I guess, right? Like,
Yeah.
building internal tools, which I kind of like the idea of as well. I think I would love the opportunity to move to a developer role for my current job place, but just make things better.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, that does not seem like an option whatsoever. I feel like for career transitioners, a popular recommendation is like, hey, can you move around in your current workplace? And like, I've asked. It's a no,
Yeah,
unfortunately. How
sadly.
about you? Do you have that opportunity anywhere you think?
Well, I currently work as a security guard, so I don't really
Ah, that's right.
see
That's right.
anything internally. So it's gonna have to be somewhere else.
Yeah, yeah. And how'd you come about that job, if you don't mind me asking?
So I found this job through Indeed, I think.
Hmm.
I just applied because I thought I was gonna move to California a few months ago, but I didn't.
Oh,
So
okay.
I left my last job thinking I was gonna relocate, but that didn't happen. So I went on a plane, applying free to find a job, and they reached out. I actually work
Oh,
security for the Coast Guard, so it's not a completely bad gig.
okay. Yeah,
Just
yeah, yeah.
the schedule's kind of rough right now.
Yeah. Are you going to be on the night shift permanently for now, or
It might seem that way for a bit.
permanently for now? It doesn't really make sense, but yeah, that's rough, dude. I did overnights uh, once a week,
Hmm.
and I hated it. So doing it every day, dude, I give you props. I
Actually,
really do.
working security at Adobe
Mm.
for this, and that was a pretty cool. cool spot because I got to network with all the engineers.
That's cool.
So
That's
it's
cool.
pretty
Do you
cool.
find like they cool with you? Um, are they cool with you like studying in the downtime as long as obviously you're doing your job?
So at the last when I was at Adobe, my manager was pretty cool about it since I was
Mm-hmm.
working graveyard. As long as I did my rows and make sure no one broke in, he was cool with me, studying on the
Nice,
side. But
nice.
this one is a bit more strict. So
Hmm.
um, the most I can do is listen to podcasts or have some YouTube video playing in the background.
It's a long 8 hours, my guy.
Sometimes 12
Sometimes 12.
hours.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal. That's pretty brutal.
Yeah,
Friends that are complaining about the ads, I apologize. I guess I could turn them off, but it is nice getting something from Twitch. If you do have Amazon Prime and you feel up for it, you can connect those two accounts and get a free Prime membership, and that alleviates the ads for you and gives me something back too. But I understand if you want to swap to a different platform for it. So yeah, so that sucks that you can't make most of those 8 hours because that would be ideal, right?
it would.
How do you balance the time after work? Does your partner work daytime hours?
Yeah, so we have opposite schedules. I come home from work, she goes to work, but luckily she has a remote job, so it's not too bad. Um, but yeah, I get home, sleep, she works. When she's off,
Mm-hmm.
I wake up and I have some free time, probably an hour or so, and then to go run errands or hang out before I have to go to work again.
Yep.
Or sometimes we just don't do anything, just hang out at home, and I have more
Yeah.
time for myself.
That's okay. Like you need your time together. It's the most important thing.
Right.
In continue to make that work. Um, hey, Bodine, thank you very much for the subscription on Twitch. I appreciate it. Dude, that's tough. But I give you both props, man. You're doing it, which is great.
Yeah, trying. It's been tough. I'll tell you.
Yeah,
Um,
dude. I imagine. How long have you two been together?
Next month we will be 7 years married.
Wow, dude. 7 years married. How long have you been together?
8 years.
Damn, dude.
Yeah,
Good for you two. You're making it work no matter what.
Ellie's here.
Yeah, she is, Ellie.
I'm wearing it, by the way.
Oh,
She's the
hell
one who
yeah.
got it to me.
That's sick. Nice, Ellie. That's very cool of you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love that shirt. I already actually I bought the renter ATL ticket like as soon as it became available. They have the early bird ones.
yeah.
So I was like, I'm getting there no matter what next year. It wasn't
Um,
even the ticket cost, it was just work. But I'm
yeah,
like, I bought the ticket. I'm gonna be there, you know?
and I actually got a ticket to it for this last one, but I couldn't attend.
Same, dude. Same. So
So
shitty. Well, I'll see you at next
I
year's.
passed it off to Ellie, and she went in my place.
Nice. Oh, that's sick. That's a good trade off there.
But yeah, Sashi is gonna be here. I think this week actually. I need to hit him up.
Really?
Yeah, he said he's gonna be in Seattle last week of
Oh,
August.
Microsoft is up there too, yeah.
Yeah, the headquarters out here.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. My saying she's tempted for render. Yeah, I think the early bird tickets are like 350.
Hmm.
Of course they do have giveaways closer to it, and you can sign up on their website for basically like they'll sponsor one for you. Uh, and that's the one I actually was awarded, but like I said, I couldn't go unfortunately because of work.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think
same.
it was 350, which is quite inexpensive, all things considered. And Upa's in the house. What's going on? My I won. I don't know. I've had a good spree. I was just talking about it before. I just won the app right in its swag. I won this mug from Clerk and Astro a week or two ago. I feel like I got something else recently. I don't know.
Yeah, the render scholarship. That's the one I got also.
Oh, is it?
So
Small world.
definitely shoot your shot.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like if money's an issue, shoot your shot. Like you have nothing to lose. The only difference is now you can save money because, like Ellie's saying, it goes up to, yeah, it goes up, and this is every conference ticket for the most part, right? They're pricey. It is what it is.
Right. Yeah, I also got one for that last year in Texas,
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't go.
Oh
I was so upset.
man, I was fortunate to win one for that. I won it through Brian Morrison. Um, for this past January. So that was exciting. And again, I had a full intention to go to that Wisconsin, but money. Not even money. I'm sorry, work. Money used to be my problem, but now it's work. So you
See,
know, yeah, it kind of sucks. Um, so you're working on back end. You're learning all this stuff. You're learning some more functional engineering stuff. Um, what are your near and long term goals besides getting a job?
so near goal. It's a good question. I know long term, definitely want to get a better job. That provides better, you know, more flexible schedule. Um, Definitely better pay, but I definitely want to learn enough to where I can give back to the community. Just because the type of programs I've been in, they basically just given to me skills that I want to be able to give back to the community.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my long term goal. Kind of be some sort of mentor to folks like us now trying to break into tech.
Yeah, I think that's a great goal, and I think it's massive to want to give back to the community. I feel the same way, to be honest. The community has given so much. Like, let's give
Yeah,
back. You like it's kind of
exactly.
like not that we owe anyone anything, but owe it to the community to give back, so that we could build up future devs as well. Karina has just subscribed. Thank you for the subscription, Karina. I appreciate it. Chris is now in the house. Yeah, Stephen Ellie is saying you should read Stephen's mentor article. He just gave a speech about it, I believe. A talk about it that Ellie linked to on Twitter.
Well, that's right.
So
I see
yeah,
that.
I think mentorship is huge. I think, but just giving back. I read something years ago about, like, as much as I am self-taught, like, I'm community taught, and I think that is pretty a really good way of putting it.
Right.
Because I'm not learning anything without the community. Like,
Exactly.
otherwise, the self-taught path wouldn't be possible.
Exactly.
Um, are there any other projects or technologies you're excited to explore?
Um, there's a few other projects or things that I'm working on. There is this nonprofit slash small startup called Asian Connection Hubs that I'm helping build out their mobile app. Um, so I'm working we're using React Native for that on the front end, and on the
Mm-hmm.
back end, I'm kind of figuring out what to use. So I'm kind of between, you know, um, looking into AppWrite, of course,
Nice,
TF8,
dude.
it's Node Express. So I'm kind of just looking at options and seeing the pros and cons between all of them. And then I'm also doing this workshop through that's that is done by Callie on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
She provides a workshop. She has two of them: deploy in public and a build in public. And I'm going through the deploy in public, so I'm learning all about deployment using AWS,
Dude,
Terraform, and Kubernetes is going to be the last portion of it. So
that's
a few
awesome.
things, yeah.
So it's deployment, and are you learning like CI/CD with that as well?
Yes. So
Yeah, I would
basically,
imagine that's part of
all
it, right?
things deployment. Yeah. So it starts off building or deploying a simple Nginx
Mm-hmm.
server
Mm-hmm.
with AWS, just using manual deployment on AWS, and then it kind of goes up from there. Right now, it's I'm using Terraform to provision the AWS services, and then from there
Gotcha.
you start. bringing in Docker, CI/CD, and then Kubernetes and all that stuff. So it's been
Dude,
fun.
so much to learn. So much to learn.
A
Are you
lot.
enjoying that bit of it?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm actually gonna do a post on the Terraform portion of it. So
Sweet. Are you using Blog Recorder for that?
I am going to.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
It takes your nonsensical ramblings into something cohesive. It's great.
Yeah, I saw Jason using it and it was pretty dope. Same with Maya.
Yeah.
I saw her using it.
Yeah, Mai put out an article with it. And I know Eddie's implementing longer things. Like right now, you're limited to 15-minute, I guess, like sessions.
Hmm.
And I think he's increasing it up to 60 minutes, which is pretty
Yeah,
wild.
I
I
think he just
can't
pushed
imagine
that
speaking to
update.
it for a minute straight.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I'm saying he just released that update. I
Oh,
think I
did he
saw him
actually push
post
it
about
out?
it. Yeah.
Man, he's quick.
Yeah, he
He's
is.
quick. That's wild. Cool. So I wanted to talk about community networking. We talked about community a little bit, right? And giving back and how important it is to our journey. I also believe like in networking, it's so much more than just, like selling yourself, but I feel like it's making genuine connections with people, right?
Mm,
At least in my opinion. How do you feel about that?
yeah, I'm all for networking. I'm not. What's the word I'm going? I'm a huge fan of it. Like networking is, I think the best thing you can do. Really, just shoot your shot. You never know what comes out of it. Um, I've met a lot of people online just from networking. I have senior engineers I can reach out to, recruiters that I keep on in the back pocket that I reach out to, um, and just friends, like a bunch of people on here. I
Yeah.
just reached out and like, hey, I'm learning to code, and I see you are too. Let's connect. But no, I'm a huge fan of networking, and I believe everyone should network if they can and are willing. Because it's uncomfortable
Mm-hmm.
for sure, especially if you're not, you know, someone who's into that sort of stuff. But it's definitely something people should
Yeah.
definitely
I wholeheartedly agree. I think if you're not doing yourself justice,
do. Hmm.
especially in today's world. I mean, you see it from countless people. But I'm trying to remember. I think it was Ken C. Dodds at that Wisconsin that said, "It's not who you know, but who knows you."
Right.
And like, yeah, that's incredibly powerful and true. And it's again like networking. I feel like used to have such a bad connotation to it, almost like
Hmm.
or negative because it was like, oh, you're just selling yourself and blah blah blah. But it's so different now. Again, like with the authenticity that is more popular than ever, and the genuine connections and stuff. Like I don't know, man. I think
Yeah.
like I'm looking at all the people in chat. Like I'm friendly with everyone. I've met a handful of these people in person, and those that I haven't yet, I hope to soon. But like, I mean, obviously, Wally's my brother, so that's one thing. Richard, I met at a meetup because of Gridiron.
Hmm.
I met Shashi because of Brian, who I mentioned earlier at that conference, and like everyone else, Karina, I haven't met in person yet, but that's from Gridiron. Chris, Ellie, both were at that. Upa's just part of the community online. Like I'm like, okay, we'll meet eventually, like it'll happen. So it's super, super powerful. And so in sort of a giving back and a mentoring thing almost, what what communities or ways would you recommend junior developers or people just getting into it go about it?
Um, if you're starting off or thinking about starting off, 100 devs is one I recommend for sure. They are the
Mm-hmm.
definition of community top, and Leon is God sent. Um, and then another one, community is what's it called? Danny Thompson's server. um, that one's a
Yeah,
fun one.
he's merging them now, I think. Oh my god, why can't I find it? Commit your code.
Yeah, there you go. Commit your code. And then third one, I would have to say, let's get technical. Discord servers. It's not a bad one. It's filled with
Definitely
a
not a
bunch
bad
of
one.
senior devs, bunch of cool people.
Yeah.
Definitely reach out to Sashi and he'll he'll let you in. Or actually, anyone can
Yeah.
let you in. Actually, now I think about it.
Yeah, I didn't even know about it. I don't think he really advertises it too much, but it was more of like a Adam. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm blinking on his name. I
Adam
hate myself.
Adam or
Adam
I forgot.
M. Adam. He's rambling Adam, I believe, on
Yeah, yeah,
Discord
yeah,
and Twitter. But Morsa, maybe
yeah, yeah. There you go.
Killer guy met him at that conference, and he like after that conference, he's like, "Oh, I got to get Ryan in on these." I didn't even know he just DM'd me. It was like, "Hey, you want to join?" So it's like he was great, and then I'm so happy I did. And then Shashi eventually asked me about joining Gridiron, and then I saw that Chris joined it. It was funny actually. For a while, it seemed like I was almost following Chris around everywhere he appeared. I would appear right afterwards. It was pretty funny. But so 100 devs with Leon, right? I know, great person.
Mhm.
Haven't had the chance to meet him yet, but hopefully sooner rather than later. Danny Thompson, great person to follow, and he's got his Commit Your Code Discord. He's combining his Dallas software developers one with that,
Right.
because they were basically like copies of each other. And Dallas Software Devs is no longer just local. I took part in his cohort, the last round of it. So,
That's right.
and then yeah, LGT. If you're interested, reach out to Shashi Low, Shashi Who Codes on Twitter. Alex says one thing I highly recommend to juniors or people just starting out is to be open to change. Don't restrict yourself to a certain path.
Yep.
I could agree with that, but I also slightly disagree, and I want to hear your take on this too, Eddie. So I think being flexible is great and not restricting yourself to one path. However, and I meant to bring this up when we talked about the job market and the demand in your area. When I was looking at just what I wanted to do, I was like, I know that I want to work in front end web development.
Hmm.
I know I do not want to do back end stuff. So just because the job market where I immediately am is bigger maybe for Java and Python, that's not what I'm interested in. So I'm not going to do that. But being flexible even in my course to front end web development, I think is critical. What are your thoughts on that?
So I definitely agree on being flexible for sure. Because when you're starting off, you don't really know, right? So I'm sure people just follow the typical free code camp, and it takes them to front end. Um, but yeah, definitely being open to exploring everything is a good way to go. So maybe you like backend more, maybe you like cloud more. Shoot, maybe
Mm-hmm.
even like data analytics. Who knows?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of doors that technology offers. So definitely explore, but also kind of know what your local market offers. Also, um,
Right.
that's a big
Yeah.
thing. Or just be open to relocating to an area that does you know uh, tend to what you want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree wholeheartedly. I think like you said, don't be afraid to relocate, and I think that sort of being not restricting yourself right away is important. And like I said, I meander from front end web development to cloud architecture to IT work to something else, and then back to front end web development. Like I kind of had to explore and try different things to figure out, oh, this is actually really 100% what I want to be doing right now.
Right,
So there's definitely, I think that's a great thing to just always keep in mind. If you feel like you're like pushing yourself daily and not really enjoying what you're working on, change it up. Like
yeah,
I don't think anytime learning programming, even if you end up not doing it, I don't think it's wasted, because just learning how to code is a skill in itself,
right,
like an overarching skill in my opinion.
exactly,
So
exactly.
good call out there. Upa saying it's better to be flexible with your learning so that you can adapt yourself to different opportunities. Yeah, again, 100% agree. When I jumped into Danny Thompson's the cohort that he did with Dallas Software Devs, we used React Native and like a bunch of stuff I've never used before, but you learn it, you jump in and you figure it out. And
exactly.
that was a hell of an experience. Were you part of that? I forget.
No, I did not, just because of the time commitment and
Yes.
the time that it started. It was pretty chaotic on my end, so I was like,
Yeah, yeah,
let
same.
me give that spot to someone who can actually commit.
Yeah, it was interesting. If you really want like a uh they haven't announced the next one yet, but it will be coming. They do these every so often through the year. It's
Right.
very, I don't want to say hackathon-ish, but it was more like, hey, let's get this done, and get the MVP out there.
Hmm.
It was a really good experience, and I think anyone here would benefit from it.
Right.
Um, Cool, man. Well, I know you have to get to sleep, and I appreciate you taking in the time out of your day to hang with us on a Saturday morning. Is there anything you didn't get out? Is there anything you want to tell the people or anything like that?
Um, I guess one thing I could say that I'm trying to, you know, take my own advice is, be patient. I know it's tough out there, but definitely be patient. Your time will come, and definitely learn to be uncomfortable
Mm-hmm.
because, you know, or what's it saying? Um, yeah, just learn to be uncomfortable
Get
because
comfortable with being uncomfortable. Yeah.
there you go. Because those moments will come, and you just gotta, be comfortable with it. But yeah, just be patient. Your times will come. I believe in all of you. But yeah, that's all I got.
Awesome, dude. Well, thank you. I definitely agree with you on that note. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. It's going to make a big difference. Yeah, and thank you. I think that was Kenneth that just subscribed on Twitch with Twitch Prime. Thank you, sir. Yeah, definitely agree with you there. Thank you again for your time, Eddie. Just hang out real quick after I end the stream so I could say goodbye. But thank you everyone for tuning in this morning. I know it was early on the West Coast and maybe earlier than you tend to wake up on Saturday mornings, but I was up at like 6:15 my time. I'm just used to it from work. But again, this recording will be up on my YouTube, youtube.com/@/Ryan.Furrer. Just search Ryan Furrer. You could find me on there if you want to catch it. And thank you again to our sponsors for making this possible, or Gridiron Survivor possible, I should say, because we
Yeah.
wouldn't be here without you. All right, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday.